Okay, now we're being recorded for that way if anything comes up in the chat, I don't know who's out there or not, but all right, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. The folks that I had really hoped that we would have done this in person, just so I don't think there's going to be that many people on. So can they do what?
I can.
Yeah, I would think so. Because you could hear, right? I think we're good. I think we're good. Through my computer. All right. So I can hear everybody. If you want to, if you have a question, just stop me, speak up, and I will hopefully hear you. Hi, Bob.
Oh, Robert.
So I just got done talking a little bit about what I hope to accomplish today. And this is just basic. We're starting from square one. And if that's going to be a waste of your time, I want you to know that we're starting from square one. Any questions? And I'm going to try to move along at a pretty quick pace.
Okay.
But if I go too quick, stop me and ask questions as we go along.
Very good.
Got a question?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm familiar with oceans, and are most of these things applicable to you? But it's okay to tell no.
Yeah, I do not know. I am not familiar with Google Sheets. I know that it's an application that's very similar to this, and a lot of that stuff does translate, but I know that there are differences, and I'm not aware of what they are. This is where I'm comfortable, and I tend to, if I'm in Google Sheets, I do nothing more than the basic enter in information into a little cell. Thanks. All right, so I have my screen on the big screen, and I'm going to kind of use that as a guide. If you want to open up Excel on your computer and try and move move along or try things as we talk about them, that might be helpful to reinforce some of the ideas. Otherwise, you could just watch along, whatever works for you. Yes, sir.
Real basic question. Where do I find this out?
Okay.
So go to, let's go to the click on the start window there. That one. And on mine, it pops up in here. See, Excel right there. So this is a great starting spot. We are starting from scratch. We're opening the application, right? And maybe we'll, I already have this. So you're gonna open it up, and the first thing that you're gonna see is a screen. You want to start with a blank screen. You want to start with it. There's a list of spreadsheets that you've recently looked at toward the bottom. If you go to a blank worksheet, which will be that choice, now you just have a blank worksheet. Nor if I don't. All right. So let's just talk about some fundamental things about the way it's structured, right? Perfect. So what do we have here? We have the ability to enter in a ton of information, and it's all structured that you have columns and you have rows. And where a column and a row intersects, that's called a cell.
So right now, we have what is called an active cell, which is highlighted by that green box. So that's the cell that we're in. You can tell that it's the intersection of D and row 3. And here is a box that tells you, if you're never really sure what is active for whatever reason, you can look at that right there and it says E3 is active. And as I use my up and down arrows, I go spreadsheet, you can see that that is now saying P4 is my active cell, A4, and so forth, right? That's my active cell. Across the very top of there you have a bunch of drop downs. So there's a name for that. I don't know what the heck it's called, but each one of those has tabs, and the tabs give you a whole new set of functions. So here we're on the home tab, and we have the basic editing functions. You have formatting functions, alignment, more formatting, and so forth. And each one of those sections on that ribbon have a whole bunch of other choices. Some of them have a limited amount of functions in them that you can choose from, and others have so many choices that they're not visible, that you can expand them by clicking on these little arrows down in the bottom of that section. And so you have this, and there's more choices than what's displayed here. If you click on that, you can see there's all these choices, and then you have a bunch of other choices as far as formatting your fonts and your colors and so forth. Right? And similarly with the alignment and when you want to format numbers. So in a cell, right now we are in cell F4. In any cell, you can either enter text or numbers or formulas. Text can be helpful because it can be descriptive. And then the numbers obviously can be the data that you're trying to analyze. And then the formulas are what's going to do the work for you. So let's pause there and go to something that I want to show everybody the potential of where you can take this. And you can do a ton of stuff with this. You can use it for all kinds of things in your life. And the only thing that's going to limit you is your creativity. Okay. What I have here is a spreadsheet that has all kinds of formulas and equations built into it to help me calculate the buyer's estimate of costs. The way I have my spreadsheet set up is all of the information that's going to change from deal to deal is in blue. All the other things that I put in there are going to be fixed, and I'm not going to screw with them. I'm only going to edit the blue boxes. So to quickly run through this to show you the power that this gives me and how I find it helpful, we'll just edit some of these boxes. So I start up top. I put in cell B1, I'm going to enter in the date. So I'm writing an offer today. Today is 11/8/2024. I'm going to hit enter. And then all of a sudden, it gives me a date of when I would expect the deal to be done. And how did it do that? Well, what I did was by typing the date in that format, it's taking B1 and it's adding 45 days to it. So I think, okay, 45 days is pretty fair. If I wanted to try and do it quicker, I could always edit my thing to say 30 days or whatever. I also am aware that the 23rd of December might not be the ideal day to shoot for, right? It might be a Sunday, it might be a Saturday. In this case, it's 2 days before Christmas. I might want to go back a week. So I take that date, I look at my calendar and I say, okay, you know what, Wednesday of the week before is the 19th, for example. And I would write that personally, the way I use mine, is I take and I write it in that yellow box. I say, okay, this is the date we're going to shoot for. Before I write up the deal, before I finalize my estimate, I talk to my client and say, "Oh, is that going to work? Here's why I'd like to do that. We're up against this and this." All right. Then we're looking at the offer price. What are we going to offer? Let's say it's a $300,000 house. I'm going to put 300,000 in here. Going to be a 30-year loan. I could put just a 30 in here. Say it's going to be 90% loan to value. I'll put 90 in here. And let's say the interest rate, let's just say it's 6.5. Okay, here's what I do. I enter it in purchase price to loan to value and the interest rate. Based on that, it's 1% and that is going to be put in there. What the loan amount is going to be, and based on that information, it was able to calculate my mortgage amounts for me. Okay, doesn't have a reliable number yet because I haven't entered in taxes or some of the other information that we still need to put in there. But I have a formula over here to calculate the payment, and I have both of those, and that's being done in the program as well. Again, it's then taking these numbers, it's starting to add to my overall estimate, and it's taking the purchase price and it's put it over here. So when I go to fill out my estimate of costs, I have stuff that's reliable. And I don't know about you guys, but when I first started doing this, I would do an estimate of costs. I'd add everything up, come up with a number, and then I would subtract and go back and expect to get to zero. And I wasn't getting zero all the time, and it was driving me nuts. I couldn't figure out, and I had to come up with a better way. And this was my answer to that. Well, there's a couple of ways we could do that. The first way, if we're widening it to show all the information that's in there, that's one thing. If we just need to make it bigger so that we can see it, that's another thing. So the answer to your question is to make a column wider. Yeah. So if you look at my mouse, you see how it's like a big white cross right now, like a plus sign. When I move it up here to where the column headings are, if you go in between the two columns, you have A and B, it turns into a skinny little cross. If you click on that, once it becomes a skinny little cross, you can then slide your columns around like this. Make them bigger or smaller. If you double click on it, it'll auto size. So whatever the largest thing is, it'll take it all the way out to the, like if you have a whole sentence in there, it's going to fit that whole bit of information in there. So you have the control. You can either manually tweak it, make it a little bit bigger, a lot bigger, or you can expand it all the way. Oh, go ahead.
Do you create like almost basic level of you just need to answer in this block?
Yeah, I will walk you through that next. I want to show you the potential of how far you can take this, and you can take it a lot further. But I just want to like get people interested and see how we can apply this to our business, at least in this case. So I don't know what the title search amount is for a $300,000 home, but let's just say it's $2,000, right? And here I'm going through the task of filling out my blue boxes, which I know are things that I have to edit. In this case, I have 3,000 written in here for a broker's fee, but we're gonna say, the seller's paying that. And I'm gonna make up some numbers for taxes, say 3,500 for the school and the county, maybe 750 and municipal 160. Association fees, will say that this isn't in an HOA, so there's no things there. They've got a well and they've got a septic. And they're not doing inspections on that. Um, so it looks like those are our costs here, and our costs added up for me. That number comes over here and it's entered into our summary, 14,285, which is, so here in cell number B34, everything totaled up for me, and it came up to 14,285. 14,285, which is the information in the summary section on the right-hand side, happens to be cell E14. So E14, if you look at what is actually in there, although what we're seeing is the amount of the actual thing that's populating that is our formula. So this cell equals E33. Whatever the heck this was, that's gonna get pulled over here and it's gonna help me get to this number. So just to summarize, and again, I just want to like pique your interest and say, wow, this, you could do a lot of stuff with this. I've basically entered in all the information that you're gonna have to enter into the estimate of cost anyway. It's calculated my mortgage for me. It's there are two more blue boxes that I have to fill out. If there was seller assist, I would have put it in here in cell number E17, but we'll say there wasn't any seller assist and they're putting down 5,000. So in this case, it looks like these folks have to better be prepared to come to closing with $34,000, and hopefully they have about 40,000 in their checking account so that we can do this deal. Okay, that's step one. Suppose this was an FHA deal. Based on the information that I already entered in there, this is calculating based on sale price, down payment. I think we have a down payment 10% in our spreadsheet. So I would have, if it was an FHA deal and they were paying 3.5% down, it would have calculated the first year's premium for my FHA, and it would have given me my monthly premium too, which we're going to use in our paperwork when we're writing our offer.
How do you make those lots blue? That's what you have to fill in.
So this one in particular is, how do I make the boxes blue?
Yeah, but like when,
On the other sheet?
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, that's a great question. We'll talk about that, but it's formatting. So this cell I made yellow, these I made blue, and the way that I make them blue is just a matter of changing the color. To know that when you're formatting things, you can either change the color of the cell or the color of the text. So in this case, it's yellow. If I wanted to make that, I have a whole palette of colors, I could change that to this color. And you kind of see on the screen that it's following along with where my mouse is. So you have a lot of choices.
yeah, they should do. It's a little paper.
Correct. And similarly, if I wanted to change the text color, you can edit that in the one that I'm in right now. And if you do that and you think, you know what, I don't like that, I just want to go back to normal, you could just click on the automatic and it'll take you back to the way that it defaults at. And then finally, I take this a step further, and this some people find helpful. Some people don't, but again, to show you the power of what you can do, I have a third tab, a third worksheet in my workbook. Now, I calculate, again, I don't have to do any extra work. I did this once, I saved it, it's my template. All I have to do is enter the information that I have on that first page, and it gives me this. And this is an amortization table. So based on the loan amount, it calculates the payment, principal and interest payment. I have another column in here that I can give my client and say, look, if you're going to make an extra payment, here's the impact that it has on the bottom line of your loan. And you can keep track of this, right? So if you're paying your loan, let me pause and just say, okay, here we have like a bunch of numbers. What's going on there? So in a cell, there's only so much room. If it's not sized properly to the information that's in there, if it's text, it's just going to cut it off. So you might type this long sentence, but you might only see a word or two unless you expand it. Similarly, if there's numbers in there that are too large for the space that you have in that cell, it's going to show you the number signs. So I have to auto size column number C. And I'm going to do that just like we talked about. I'm going to take my mouse in between column C, column B, and I'm going to double click it, and it auto sizes for me. Okay. All right. So this shows me that on $1,700, 1,738.61 monthly payment, out of that amount on month one, $1,489 is going to interest, and only $248 is going to principal reduction. And it's just a regular amortization table. So it then takes that 248 off of my balance, and then it calculates it out for 30 years. Right. So if you go all the way down here to payment number 360, you see that eventually it gets to zero after 30 years. However, what I think is neat, and I know that when I had a mortgage and I was going to pay it off, I personally found it very motivational to know, okay, this $100 or this $500 extra that I made on my mortgage payment, wow, I just knocked off 2 months off of my mortgage. And I wanted to do it again and again. And oh, I knocked off a year, I knocked off 3 years. I'm down to 8 years left on my, and so forth. Oh, I got my income tax return. I want to, you know, this more than anything motivated me to pay off my mortgage quickly. Yeah. So, for example, if I put in $1,000 here, I can scroll down and I can look at the actual impact that had at the bottom line of my mortgage. So that extra $1,000 knocked off almost 5 full payments off the end of my mortgage. And if you can do that consistently throughout the year or every couple of payments, you're gonna save yourself, and you save yourself a lot of interest. And that's anyway, this is the kind of stuff that you can do with Excel. So how do we do that? Dave's question. How do we get these formulas? Just to take a look at some of the formulas that we're doing over here, it's basic math. The first one is cell B1 plus 45. So that's the date plus 45 days. The next one is just whatever our purchase price was. Again, this is just a number of years that we're putting in there. Plus the loan to value. It's just a value. There's no calculations yet. Interest rate, I put in 6.5. And now let's look at cell B7. So it took B6, which was 6.5, and it added 1% to it. So it gave me 7%. Out of that, based on the loan to value, and the B3 times B5, B3 is the purchase price, minus B5, which was the loan to value, it gave me so 200,000 times 0.9, it came up with this. Now, based on that information, it was able to fill out my mortgage section. So let's just go down the mortgage section real quick. So it carried over my principal and interest for me. That equals B6. The next one is, okay, payment. This is a formula that's already pre-written in Excel. And if you look up payments, or we'll look up formulas, let me show you how to do that real quick. You have this F with an X on it, insert function. And if you click on that, there's a zillion formulas that are in here. Since I already have a formula in there, it pulled it up for me. So let's take a look at the math that's actually being done. So it's B6, which is the interest rate, B6 divided by 12. Well, why is that? Because the interest is being calculated on a monthly basis. Similarly, the number of periods is taking 30 and it's multiplying it by 12 because you're making 12 payments a year. And then the principal value of that is negative number, but it's actually which was the loan amount, not the purchase price, which is why we have to calculate that too. And based on that, your interest rate, your period, number of periods, and your principal, it calculates your monthly payment. Okay, so that's one formula that we have over here. Didn't have to do any work, because all we did was enter in the information over here. Taxes. Well, what's this number? It's taking speed 21 and it's dividing it by 12. So speed 21, which is I had to enter in the taxes for city, municipal, and whatever. And school. Took those three, added them up. Dividing by 12, it's giving me my monthly taxes. Similarly, with your homeowner's insurance, that was calculated for me based on my purchase price. With my purchase price, I multiplied it by 0.075 or 0.075. Let's take a look. So B3, which is the purchase price, times estimated what my homeowner's insurance is going to be. That number is divided by 12. Put it in here. There's an estimate of PMI, which I have two different spreadsheets, one for FHA and one for conventional. And I'm actually working from the FHA, but we're using conventional numbers here. So it might be a little confusing. But anyway, I'll get a ballpark estimate of what the PMI might be for conventional loan. I might look at that a little bit. And then it summarizes everything for me. The only other numbers that I would have to put in there is what the deposit is, and then we have our estimate done. I save it, and why is that helpful? You're going to submit an offer, right? And there might be some negotiating. Sometime over the course of the deal, you might have to change the purchase price. And when you do it, you don't have to look at everything all over again. I'm going to go in here, change the purchase price, and then, okay, we're not buying it for 200 or 300, we're buying it for 325. And then everything auto calculates for me. I've already entered in the information for the HOA, the taxes, and so forth. I just need to update my numbers that changed. And I save that. So that's how this spreadsheet in particular, when I put it together, helps me. I don't know. But again, these are just some ideas that might get the wheels turning for you to come up with things that might be helpful for you. So let's start at the basics, right?
Again, the formula, where did you get the formulas? Did you put the formula?
Well, some of the formulas that are just add and subtract, I'll just type them in.
Okay.
So for example, here are the formulas. You can always see the information that's in there in this. So I entered in 6.5. It calculated Plus 1% and gave me 7%. So the simple formulas, I'm just kind of doing it myself. But then the more complicated ones, like the payment, you're gonna find that by going over here. And let's do one together. So if you wanna, if anybody has Excel open and you wanna calculate a payment, let's use these numbers, 300,000, 30 years, 90%, and 6.5. And just type them in one cell after another. So nobody gets confused. Go to cell B3 and write 300,000. So go to cell B3. Okay. And type 300,000. Okay. And put that in there, and then in the next cell right below it, type in 30. And then right below that, type in.
You click on the percent on your key.
So if you go up,
So now it's a little different.
next like 90. And that's 90%. Okay. So 6.5%. Will format is the percent.
Can you show me the percent? So I want to always be a percent. When you show it on yours,
Do the format. And then. Do the number. Well, yeah, for this code, active cell, and then you can change the number of decimal points. But it now says 6.5. If you hit enter, hit them. And then. You now need to change the number of decimal points. So now 6.5. Now, before you don't want percentage. Before this year. Right. Okay, so now here's the formula we're going to do for doing payments, right? And Bob's question was, where do you get the formulas? So if you follow along with me on my screen, there is an icon, hopefully somewhere on your ribbon, that looks like this. It's looks like an F with an X next to it. And if you don't have that, we can put it on your toolbar. Does everybody have that? Okay, we're going to click on that. And what we want is the payment function. And the payment, you can find it one of two ways. The easiest way is it's actually called PMT. You can type that and pull it up. If you don't know what a function name might be, you can type a brief description of it up here, like maybe type payment in this order box. Hopefully it'll pop up for you.
Middle of stuff. I just want to show you how to, oh, I see what you're doing. So here, I have a last line. So, okay, so the function itself is going to calculate. So here, this pops up. It's like, oh, geez, what am I doing here? Well, this gives you a breakdown. It tells you the need to enter the rate, number of periods, and principal value. And if you're not sure what any of those things are, you have a brief description right down here. Highlighting, it tells you, first of all, this formula is going to calculate the payment for a loan based on a number of constant payments at a constant interest rate. So that's important to know. If you have variable rate interest, probably not only good for that one payment, but it might not be good for other things, like your amortization table, that would be reliable. But the rate is the interest rate for the period for the loan. Well, we know that it's 6.5, right? But we also know that you're making monthly payments. You're going to make 12 over the course of the year. So here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to figure this out. We've already typed the information in. So we're going to take our mouse and we're going to hover over cell number B6, where you, or wherever you have 6.5 typed. And I'm going to click on that. And it's going to populate in there. Okay, so now I have my interest rate in there. And I'm going to divide by 12, which is this sign, this slash, and 12. So that's the first part of our equation. The number of periods, well, this is going to be a 30-year loan, so we're going to click on cell B4. Okay, 30 years. But we're going to multiply that by 12 because we're going to make 12 payments every year. And then the principal value, important to remember, and I don't think this prompts you, but you need to enter this as a negative number. So we know the loan amount. Let me point this out. This box right here is in my way. I can go and get this out. I'm just going to slide it out of the way. I'm going to double click on the header and move it out of the way. So now the principal value, I'm going to enter it as a negative number by going negative. And then the loan amount, I'm going to click on that cell. And then here it tells me what the answer is. If that answer seems like it's way out in the weeds, take a look at your equation. Maybe you made a mistake. And your payment amount is shown right here. But in this case, I think it's accurate. We're going to click on OK. And sure enough, that number equals exactly what I had calculated before. Is that too much information too quick? Yeah. Okay, let's try it again. I'm going back. Sorry, I'm going back to Dimitri, I put in $300,000. And then you guys click on the percentage sign.
For the term?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can clear the formatting of that cell. Or you can make,
Because when I type in 30, comes out 33,000%, 33,000%. So let's do this. Let's go. Well, could be you're gonna go over here where it says clear. As long as that's the stuff that you want to change. What we have, click on the drop down and clear content and format. I'll talk about the now, if once we go we have it as a percentage for the next two, which would be the loan to value and the interest rate. And this kind of follows, whatever I typed here or wrote here is pretty close to the way it is on the actual estimate of costs. And I grabbed the blank estimate of costs and I just started typing all those things on. So I don't think I have everything that's on there, but the ones that I'm writing in on my estimate are on here. So if you follow this format, it'll probably be what you want ultimately. Yeah.
Are you one of the serious?
No, I want to teach you how to do it. Why did I lose my lines? What that's formatted also. So let's go.
I think you might have over to your plan. But it's also something to read that.
So here, let's try a couple things. Go up to where the A is, the column is there, let's say A. Right here, so the column, and then other things. Click on that, it'll highlight the entire column, right? If your shift key down. And then your right arrow, click on the E and C. Right, here's your right arrow, okay? So now it's gonna highlight all of those, so whatever change we make, we only have to make it one. Okay. Now we wanna add the grid lines. Let me just see what function that is. Does your ribbon look similar to mine where over here and one it has these three things, if you go to spell, so yeah, I guess, yeah, a little coconut open here, but good. Yeah, I want to know click on your one. And then it's like, I don't give it anywhere in the worksheet. You're a genius. So,
Really good at Excel, right?
yeah.
I would visit Corporal and start.
Okay, so let's learn from this one. When I start working, I like to save it. Give it a name, save it, and then start working away. And then if anything goes wrong or you hit a wrong button, things, at least you have a, because you're going to put some work into developing this and you don't want it to be wasted.
So that's the next question.
How do you think it?
Where do you put the name? All right, so we're gonna click on file. Okay. Save as. And then what I do is I have a folder for every client that I have. Okay.
And then under that client, I have a property address for every deal that we're writing paperwork for. So in that folder, I'll save this worksheet for that property. Yeah. That's a little overkill. Maybe you want, wherever you want to save it. So
It fits your desktop for now.
this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, unless you have an iPad thing for your desktop.
No.
There you go.
again, the thing that I find helpful about this is if I have to rewrite the deal, I want to be able to find this one because it has all the specifics for that property.
And then that's what you do with $25 or back.
Estimate cost. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you've done this. And can you print this out?
I could.
I'm just looking at trying to streamline the work.
Mhm.
Instead of duplicating.
Yeah. I initially put this together as a check because I, I wanted to be accurate and I always found mistakes when I was filling mine out. As far as using this to send it to them or print it for whatever reason, yeah, you could print it. And there's a couple of ways you could do that. A regular, like any spreadsheet that you're working from, you can just go to File, Print, and then select your printer. Here's a preview of what's actually going to print. This might have a couple of pages, so which you might not want to print. You could then say, okay, I only want to print page, well, current page or whatever. Right. Now on here, you might see, I don't have the grid lines showing up. Everything looks kind of neat like that, but you might want the grid lines. And you can do that by going to page setup here in the print selection. And then over here, you have some more choices. What printer you're going to use. You do in landscape, just the normal print selections. But in one of these, you can choose whether or not the grid lines print. Do you want it only in black and white? So this is the one you want. If I select that, it'll print with grid lines. So you can print it like that. You can print it to PDF and have that.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm thinking that if you did all this with rather than doing, now putting it all on a scale, estimate going and dropping going, so that you have to use that.
Okay.
That form.
Okay.
So you could put, in DocuSign or document you can be putting just at the bottom where you have that space, putting at the bottom, putting the property address, you can put in lines for the buyer and sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's good.
I didn't realize that was an option, so thanks for pointing that out.
I mean, one other step that you're gonna be, I know my next part, other than I'm going to be with your conversation with Excel or Google Sheets. And I think I remember the answer. If you don't love Google Sheets.
I'm not familiar with it. I don't know my way around. I know it's probably very similar, but I know there's differences. And
It's come a long way.
yeah,
So far, it's pretty much exactly, because I have
Okay.
myself, so.
so you're working from. Okay, and you have like a payment function, for example, in there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Next to the beginning of the box, it was in the toolbar at the top all the way in. That was the only difference I've noticed so far, but you came up to here and didn't even know that. You pointed out exactly where, yeah, percentage it was in the exact same spot, so.
okay.
So far so good.
So another kind,
Google doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, they plug up the thing, yeah, they move it about one spot, right now. The only reason I say that is because would be a function, just like you can create a front page to this, like, that item that can be edited and the item that can't be edited, you can create a Google Doc that only asks the questions that you're filling in.
yeah,
It could be filled in and then it would generate an entire thing on a sheet.
boom,
I
and
don't know if that would help for
yeah.
people to not screw up everything else that's happening on the sheet.
So let's
I
look
would
at,
give the percentage and stuff in here for the title fees.
Yeah.
Like that is good. People aren't looking for their booklet and.
do you know what? I actually have another spreadsheet that calculates the title amount. And I don't know if everybody has this, but let me try and find that real quick for everybody. And this I can share, John.
This one.
Like,
No, right.
all right, so here is a spreadsheet that I actually got from Lori Lehman. I didn't create this one. And you can just see it's helpful because when you have a purchase price of over whatever amount our chart goes by, it ends at a certain number. And if you're writing a deal over that on the rare occasion,
I remember when you told me this, you were like, well, does it go past? I was like, I don't know.
well, in very fine print on the bottom of that thing, it tells you how to calculate it. And automatically, when it meant calculation, I thought there's got to be a better way. And sure enough, there was already a spreadsheet developed. But anyway, in this spreadsheet, you can just type the purchase price in here. Like in this case, we were doing an example of 300,000. I could actually have it pull from this spreadsheet and populate the other one. And I don't want to get too complicated, but in what more, what, yeah, or maybe a couple classes down the road. But you can type a number in here, or you could use one as your input form, client's name, property address, title amount, and have those numbers pulled from that spreadsheet to your new one. So just like in our spreadsheet that we're working from, where I'm taking numbers and I'm using numbers from, say, like the purchase price, and I'm using it over here on this tab, this worksheet or this worksheet, I can pull them from a totally different workbook and use that as my input and populate another spreadsheet. It's a little, we'll talk about that at another time. Just know that there's a possibility to do something like that. Some complexities that you'd want to look out for, but it can be done. But with this one in particular, I do a little bit more too, because occasionally there's other calculations I have to figure out. So over here, used to be very common, you get 3%, a little less common these days. So if I want to figure out what the commission is going to be, I just take B3, which is my purchase price, and I multiply it by J2. Well, what's J2? J2 is 3%. So based on full 3%, I'm earning that. If I'm earning something less than that, I can write it in here in J3, 2%, 2.5%, calculate the amount, and I can then take that number and write it into my broker's fee over here. So if I want to change this to say 2.5, I'll just type 2.5 in here. Calculates that, calculates the difference, and now I can go over here and watch what I do. I'm going to type equals, and then I'm going to click on L4, and I populated that in there for my broker's fee. And if this is a deal where I'm only getting paid 2.5 from the seller, and we change the purchase price, these are all calculations I won't have to redo. Doing it once, I'm saving it. If I have to change the purchase price, everything's going to be updated for me, and it's just a matter of copying numbers. And I personally have confidence in the way that it's being calculated. If there was seller assist, I have a way of taking the purchase price times whatever, 3 or 6%. And if this is deal specific, I could, like I said, I'm going to save this with the client in that property address. So it's deal specific. If it was definitely 3%, I could then take that number and populate it over here. If it's a dollar amount, I could maybe overwrite that formula right over here without even knowing about that. So it's all a matter of setting up a template for yourself to do all the calculations that you're going to have to do repeatedly, deal after deal, making it as easy as you can. One of the things that makes it easy for me is I change the color of the cells that I need to update. Right? Make sure that I have something in all of them if it's appropriate. And then
have this highlighted because currently this number, I think, is getting pulled from my FHA tab. Because it's my FHA template. I might overwrite that. So let's back up. Let's have some questions. What was that? Do we have questions? So one plan. Um, okay, there were a couple, there was like a function box or something, and then there was like, you can type in, there's a function line right above that you can type in. And so I'm seeing like, I just got this far, and then there was like the 12 months I got. Okay, awesome, but. Okay, so I went too quick too, and that's good. No, you're doing fine. I need to definitely need a recap. All right, do you have this icon anywhere on your ribbon? Yes, it is. Yeah, click on that. And it opens up what's called a form builder online. So you're gonna click on the payments. And double click maybe. Okay, so the first question here is like the rate. So the rate is the interest rate. You're going to click on the cell that has your interest rate on it. And that then is written in there. And you're going to divide that by 12. So you're going to get the divide. We're going to click on. Yeah, you get a bunch of choices. So payments, PMT is the one that we're looking for, and if it isn't one of your choices, then we have to search. Okay, okay, no. And then here, your first one is the rate, right? And you're going to click on the cell that has your rate in it. Okay. So let's back up and do this down. So, go, let's see here, 330, yeah, the next cell type 6.5. Is that 6.5%? All right, go up to that cell. Right here. Yeah, the one says 6.5. And click on it. And now, I want you to clear it by hitting your back speed. And then hit enter. Now it's fully clear. And then go back up to it, because now I'm going to have it. And before you type anything in yet, I want you to click on that first one. Now that's going to, you don't have to sell as a percent. And now you can type 6.5. Right. That's what it is called. So it's not, it really is 6.5, but it's 37. Yeah. But you want to have confidence. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to back up to that stuff and you're going to change the formatting. Yeah. You're going to give it a couple more decimals. This point. Right there. Put on the next one. Now that should, so 6.50, yeah. Yeah. All right, now we're good. We're going to do the same thing for we just format it as an interest rate. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we have 9. Okay, so overall 6.5 and 9. And you might want to it might be easier for you to see So we're gonna form it out of that percentage before we type anything in, okay? And now we're gonna type 6.5. Because that's the active stuff, we have to write. Now, turn it into a percentage. And now we're gonna do a formula. You're gonna click on that cell that says 6.5. And here, we're gonna create a formula right here. Yeah. No, actually, we're gonna manually create it, so we're gonna go up here. It is the box that shows us what's in that cell. We can edit it right here. But here, this is important to point out, so we're gonna overwrite this formula. What we're gonna do is, anytime we write a formula, let me start it with. What I want to do here is going to equal what I. We're gonna put an equal sign in there. And then we're gonna go. That's okay, I can't see very well, so. So then it's gonna equal. This. So what is ultimately wanting to get in this cell is that interest rate plus 1%. We change the formula into 1%, the percentage, and then we can see what we want in this cell. The equal this plus 1. And I can mess that up again. Let's get it, everybody had to do the paperwork. We didn't get it. I understood the logic, I just wasn't entering it in the way. This version. What am I trying to do? That's what you're doing. How we can figure out payment. So now, Dave, I think we're caught up with you and we're ready to do the payment calculation.
Yes, because I'm, like I typed in this first thing. Then there's these other.
Okay.
that need to be,
Okay.
you know what I mean, like it's telling me, like, saying it out, I can't stop here.
Okay.
I have to fill those in.
All right. So, let me sit down for a second just to read what it's saying.
Yeah.
So here we have A4, which is that, divided by 12. Which is the one that you moved down here.
No, I can't, but I don't know what it goes there.
Okay, so it's the number of periods. And since you don't know what, this summarizes what you're trying to do. So this is a payment. We're going to calculate the payment of a loan. The next thing it says the rate. So the rate was the interest rate for a period. 6% for quarterly payments would be 6%. The next one is number of periods. So we can only number of payments for one month. So we could divide 360. We can get that 30 years over here. So we're going to take this and multiply it by 12. 30 payments. And this is a negative number. Negative. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go. Kind of a tree. Okay. Great. All right, great. 6.5. We're just gonna put all this out. Oh, and already inside, right? Okay, like that. Okay. The divide sign is this one. Okay. That's our new monthly interest rate. And then we'll look here, which is because again, we're setting this up once, so if it changes, if the guy goes, no, I'm going to get 15-year mortgage. When you make a special, because of 15-year, you know, out there, it's good. We're going to then type, do the multiply sign, which is this one. It's type 12 here. And then the principal value, again, is a negative number. Negative. And then give us a payment. Now you're going to see that the payment amount is different than what I calculated, right? Because I took and how to calculate the loan to value and subtract out that difference. And then this is the amount that's being calculated on on our mortgage, if that makes sense. So if you guys wanna set it up yourselves, what you wanna do is, let's take a look at the formula that I have in here for loan amount. I took B3, which is the purchase price. I multiplied it by the loan to value. So 90% of 300 worked out to be 275. And blah, blah, blah. And this is the number that I'm using in my payment formula. If you want to go through that trouble, we can walk through that together. If you feel comfortable, we can. Whatever you want to do. There's looking at things to do. So let's go. What's this? Let's do first. Let's take the payment out, because we can redo the payment using it. We're not gonna do that so far. Yeah, and just do it last day, so. You know, right? And then back up to it. So here, I want you to take, here's the formula that I want you to write. Equal sign. We just manually put this in. Yeah, we're gonna type this in. Equal sign. Click on the cell that has the purchase price. And then do the multiplication sign, which is the right. And then multiply that by the cell that has loan to value. And then click on it. So what did that do? It took the loan amount and multiplied by the loan to value, and you should have a number that equals 275 from 63. Okay. What this is my FHA worksheet, and it is adding in the number. That's what you have. So minus yeah. You guys have it right. Now you've calculated your loan amount. Let's figure out the monthly payments. This is what we go to the next one. Right. So hopefully, and if you don't, let's take a minute if you're actually building this right now. Let's just write these things in here. And if you didn't leave yourself an formula, let's insert a row. So you're going to insert a row by clicking on A. And then insert. So over here on your main ribbon, you should have a thing that says, there you go. Now let's just give them some talks. The first one, up here on the and then what did you put in? Oh, purchase price. The purchase price in that. And then yeah, just do this service. So that's what I did to just recap. And I wrote today's date in there for the offer. So 11/8.
Can you shift these things down?
Yes, you can. So you know how we insert the shift this way? You can then click on one. And here you do insert. And you click insert. Okay. Now go offer date. And then settlement date. Company. And then go up here to B7. And type a date, type today's date, 11/8/2020. And then, now here, I want you to type equals. Whatever cell you have that today's offer date in. If this, the formula is gonna equals this cell, we're gonna click on it. The one in this case. Plus 45 plus 30, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I click on it. And now I hit the left side. Yes. All right, let's try it again.
This is what we're going out of here for Robert, where they feel like that.
Okay, so this is our offer date. We're not gonna change it. This is gonna actually be the date. The offer date is where it's at. 11. Right. And it's still right below it, which is settlement date, but I want you to say equals. And you click on the offer date. Click on the settlement, yeah, you must. That worked out right. That should say 1223, right? Yeah. Right, so now we got offer date, then we have settlement date, which, again, when I get that date, that's okay, it's in the range, right, go ahead, maybe we're pushing it out, January, Christmas. I'm ready to pump the packet, couple of days. So what I did on mine is I created another cell over here, my little sheet, I'm gonna write in there, okay, we're gonna do it on 12/19. Right, that's the date I'm writing on all my paperwork now for someone. Then we have all these things filled in. Take a few minutes and write these things down. Title search. And if you don't want to go through this whole exercise now, we don't have to do it. But I'm more than happy to work through all of this. I'm gonna get some water. Right, you just second hand.
Yeah.
Use the less than our cost for the cheat sheet. I just want to order that.
That's good. Just. We don't want to see it.
Where are you, Dave, at this point? Okay. Yeah, also, all.
Um, what was the loan amount that you guys came up with? 270 even, correct? All right. All right. So now our receipts should match, I hope. And what was your question, Dave? I'm sorry.
You know, that, just that column, that all that column. The insert, not the, you know, the. Yeah, insert. But it's like up here, you're gonna highlight these higher column. You know, click insert, and everything should, you know. Oh, but, I'm sorry, wrong thing. You know where to get that. You can leave it like that, you know, if you wanted to undo it, you could click on the undo button. Which is the one that looks like the backwards circular. Yeah, the one that's like, this thing is. You just kind of. You could do that. I'm not sure, we're just chugging along, just want to kind of. I see the road, no, you got to walk here now.
I don't know what.
Okay, so you get the summary section. Okay, so this purchase price.
I don't have the, where to get the principal and interest. Or I have that here, I guess, the monthly payment, the formula here. Do I just make this down for whatever?
Let's see what I have in there. That is your payment amount. So you could do one of two things. You could either, what I did in this spreadsheet anyway. You already have a cell that calculated the payment, correct?
Yeah, now.
So you can go over here. So instead of typing 30, I encourage you to actually type it. I click on that cell. So that way, this is going to orally calculate. Is the loan amount a negative? So you can click on that cell. If you would have been down. So you say, I want you to scroll down and you go to this.
1887.
Yes.
Okay, so now on the next one, we get taxes. So you gotta click on equal. The taxes amount was over here, it's over the. It's a first million, and then divide that by 12. And then same thing for property tax, click on the cell.
Yes.
Leave that, I like that a different color, because you're gonna wanna. Pay attention to that, that's gonna vary. And then you have, again, leave it blank for this example, but you'll have it with that on it. The sum of this, yeah, it's all. You don't get it, you're just looking. We're going to have another. You just move the screen.
And then once you get to here, where you have estimated costs, I'll show you how to total that up.
Hit a roadblock. I forget it, like, go to the formula that, go back to the. I want to control that too. Okay, good, we're full time.
And the reason why I total them up like that, because I'm gonna take that number, here's what's down, and put up that total, and put it into my monthly payment. Which is, we'll get to, but I like what you did.
You know what kind of jumping around.
I'm gonna have someone in.
Okay, summary of. Okay, purchase price, you're gonna click in that cell. You're gonna see.
Well, I guess I have the estimated cost, because I don't have the part where that all is.
Somehow I got the word especially in that city. And I don't have the word. Okay. I know what people. So although we have on the back of Here's, here's the, for each one of the configuration. Now, it looks like this is all been merged. So if you take these cells, you see how there's no grid lines there? So what that means is those three cells, it looks to me like they've been merged as one. Yeah, because there's no line in there. So we go there. Yes. And highlight all three of those cells. And then, oh, so now we have all that stuff in there. I can remember some release and for this example, we were going to keep it up. And then whatever numbers you, let me call here so we're all, okay. Because of the series, you put like 80 that, and you or one, or that not. What you could do is if you want to write a formula where I think what you're saying is you want to add up these, and you don't want to include these, but you want to add up those. But think about with regular math, you're gonna put parentheses in there. You're gonna say this plus this, or this, add this range up, sum of whatever range, and parentheses, and then plus another parentheses, right? So the way you want to do it is think we're just totaling our thing. You're gonna do a range, so it's gonna equal, and the way that you can do this easily is click on that first cell in the range that you want, and then okay. So you're gonna put, yeah. No, you're gonna put down, okay, now, yeah. You're not gonna have that. Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to- And we're looking at it. Now, that gives you a strong, yeah. Well, actually, um, now you have the total. But you probably don't have things in there too. Which, if you look at mine, you see like 3410 is kind of off to the side. Yeah, that's why. So I can just like scoop more land. And we'll keep it here, we'll it here. And we could go back and review the whole thing, or we could go all the time. The real estate, transaction coordinator, there's $50. Yeah, do we have any other different? As long as you have whatever numbers, you know that we're total on those. So you're good. Wow. Balance the settlement.
No, it's your little Texas,
This, my spreadsheets get a little busy because I do, depending on. There's always something tricky. This might be what we're talking about. So when I went out to the CRS tax record, it said that the annual taxes were 4801. I came up to 4410. So I typed in this number, so kind of the difference, and I knew what I wanted to do was on that estimate, was build in the 391. So that was a little slight calculation for me on this one.
Yeah, because they can each of the separate, and then the total is only that, yeah. Okay.
So I was trying to balance for that. Step this up. At least. I don't want to get this too complicated, but you know, the idea of this for me is to make it easy for myself. If I go to level taxes, there's those three amounts, and that amount doesn't equal what CRS total annual taxes are. This number. From here. So this cell right here is pulling this number and auto populating it. How am I getting that number there? What's the formula? Either copy. Nope, I'm just gonna go equals I'm gonna click on the cell, and I'm gonna go equals, and I'm gonna click on that. Boom, hit that. And then all of a sudden, this equals whatever is in that cell. And that'll continue to like auto populate every time. Then if I'm looking at CRS and I see a difference, I'm gonna type that number in there. It's gonna calculate how much of a difference there is. And I can then add that back in. So maybe I'll just take the 391 and add it to that. And I think that's what this number is. It's like this plus that. And then I can manually overwrite this number and then disregard that, disregard this, because it's all going to want to circular reference to that. But anyway, at least my annual taxes are right, and then that number is going to be correct in my monthly. This total tax rate over here is this plus this plus this. So here's the formula for that. It equals, when you want to add a range of stuff, it's equals sum. And then you do a range. So in this case, B19 root B21, that's B19 colon B21. And then the easy way to do that is equal sum, SUM, right? Well, you can do it a couple of ways. You can go. Here's the easy way. You have to look at all this sum. Yeah, I can read. And here's the easy way. I want you to click on the difference. Yeah. And then you get them. Now, down here for the bottom, the total estimate of everything is equal from open parentheses. Here. Here. Just so they're going to be cost. Right. That could be all on top of it. Okay, probably, so we'll just take the, oh, so now I want you to do that. Just do the formula for totaling up that. Equals. Just do that. Okay. And then what do you want to sum up? Okay. First one is one to say the number. Very good. Now, if you want to format that, you'll offer immediately. Easy to do it. You $9, cut it. Yeah, but if you just do a column, you have the zero for you don't want those decimal points, you let it move like that. Okay. Or you can make it at all the time, whatever. All right, let's get the second half of our estimate. And then we will have everybody just save their worksheet right now.
Do it in the circular reference.
Yeah.
How do you work? So like my description, you know, like every time I open it, I'll make it one, but it doesn't tell me where.
Well, if you look at the variables. I mean, it's,
I just said, okay.
I don't. So what is a circular reference, for example? It's telling you. The circular references. I would have these two.
And it refers to,
Yeah, but one of those numbers is being used over here, and it's dependent. Something that's going on over here, and it's literally a circle, but it makes sense.
yeah, so, but I don't know where it is.
Right, so it doesn't mean saying,
I don't know.
right there, the woman wants to do that. And then you click on OK, and it doesn't tell you anything else. And, yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be calculating incorrect. Like, technically, I should calculate
So what I would do would be to actually Google that area,
you know.
type that area into your AI. And getting a circular line. Otherwise, I don't find the form inside.
Okay. Because she's got one too, it's not like, there's never been any problem.
So
That one. Weird.
I don't know how to work through that one. So we're gonna save, so everybody save the answer some. Okay. Yes, David, as your estimate cost template, and we're gonna improve your template until we get to the point where you really have to get it. So save it anywhere for now, with your estimate, buyer's estimate cost. template. Anything up here? Oh, sorry. Right here, it's asking you where do you want to save it, right? So, browse. Yeah, you can add browse. And then, where do you think you want to save it? Your choice, if you can provide. This piece. And then obviously, here's the. And then here's all your name. Why is it created? You get creative. Very quick, it's just a different thing. How much is it? That's,
What is it? Okay, I'm sorry, I was like, what am I missing?
Yeah, I mean, you can remove it if you don't have a transaction coordinator, or you can remove it if yours is different, put that number in there and save it.
I'm just trying to look at this.
Yeah, I didn't understand. In the folder, now once the, then you have to file. You can call it a file. Okay, so now we're not gonna use any of the work that we did, we did say that thing? Okay. I have to say it again. So let's do this. Let's create a section for our mortgage, just call it mortgage. Leave a space, so we put the interest rates in, right?
On the next line, principal and interest taxes, just follow that example. And just set up a little section that says that. And let me know when you're done.
Not even how do you stand the column? So you look at some of the column color where the column, you know, like a C or you're right. Move your mouse up there, and you must have become, right on the column. Right in between where the two cells are, they're all clear. Or click one and drag it. Double click the water striker, and this is just meaning here. You know, once you let go a little striker for that. Okay, you got it. Yeah, right. I think it's you. Therefore, the balance to would be E by minus those three things. Yeah, 7 for 9. Then when okay, so that means it's missing something that it wants. Let's see how this doesn't matter. We need to kind of logically look at these kind of things and think, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to take the purchase price with my estimate cost. So that gives me X total times 100 total multiply. Then this down here is, what's going to be good? All right, that's the mortgage amount. This is the money that they're getting, right? So where's this? So we're going to write that in now. The deposit they've already paid, they're going to get that back. So this is literally my formula. E15 is total cash required, minus mortgage amount, minus the I'm trying to do this. Well, yeah, I mean, that would be one way to do it, would be to kind of do it. And then subtract them from that. That would be, yeah, that's what I did when I got a value thing. We did. Yeah, that did. We find that well, just E5 parentheses, you're trying to multiply, right? So I put E5 minus. I would actually do just a little bit differently. I would go add those up and subtract them from cash required. But obviously, this is what I did, and I probably ran into the problem that you're having, so I would do it like that.
I would have never imagined that I would be able to create something like this, but you think that walking me through absolutely so much of this. No love this.
So before we enter into it, we prepare for the I will format this as a person. I will work with and Once you've done that, you can run it. Right, so you can, right. So this will be covered up. Now, this I need to testify. This will make this in line. So, if I'm changing it. How much if say, now we gotta figure this out at 7%. I want that to increase by 1%, and I want these two numbers to carry over here. So what I would do, would be, I would just go equal. And take that to 25. And then here, look at the center of the equal. Next line is going to be this, but this should be 25. So if we don't have all the point out it, but no. So let's start by just typing in these. So here's what I'm doing over there. I'm taking, I wrote broker's fee 3%, and these were all manually entered. So if you look up here, this is what I actually typed in myself. So I'm using 3%. And that's like my, and that's my minimum. So I wrote broker's fee, and then I 3%. For 3%, I'm taking equals purchase price. Equals purchase price, times J2. And that's telling me what 3% is going to be on this point. I'm then doing, okay, in the case where maybe they're paying something less than that, I'm doing the same thing. I'm equals purchase price times that amount. Then I'm subtracting that. Okay, this number, I'll put over here on the.
And I usually leave that blank unless there's, obviously, unless there's a difference.
I already had 1,500 in there.
On your,
Well, that's good, because we were following the example, but. So what I want to do is make this go over there. Well, that's a manual thing for me, because I don't want to make the mistake. If I'm getting paid less than 3%, I'm all, I know that I'm checking out that number is. But I've already spent this time, so then when I'm doing that, and it's the only thing I have to do. And one number is 2.5, 2 is nothing. And then it needs to be calculated. As long as I use that one, and then I can get that number. Yeah, now I still figure it out. You could just all fill that. Right. And also, the purchase price changes. That calculation changes. And then, I like how you did it with minus J2 or whatever it is, because I just did it monthly, purchase price minus 30%. More. Times 0.3. Okay. Right, so I try where I can, being that works in this example, I wanna make it universal, and I wanna make it interactive. So that when I do have to know. The changes are. Automatically updated for me. If that makes sense. So I reference this cell. So does everybody have all of this stuff?
we need to wait a little bit longer.
So how do you get this total? Move to the map, the other side.
Okay, so what I do here is I do that payment calculation one more time. And if we need to review that, we can talk about it. Here is the formula that I also. Right there. All over this, right?
Yeah, the first one. Number, the rate median rate, yeah. So you're gonna click on the cell that has your interest rate in it, yeah. 6.1, so you're gonna click on. Well. So you're gonna click here. And then, I think you have go over and click on these six. Same thing, we're gonna click on. Viewership play. Nice. Thomas, it's a little bit, is your lower now, but it is no, you can put it in the spell. You can put it on the spell. And hopefully, that number is the same as what we had figured out earlier for. So my number is 18 or 170658. Is that what you have? Yeah, okay. So now I want you to do that same calculation. Calculation.
Clicking on the FX.
The function wizard. And you're gonna click calculate the payment for 7.5. I do it at 7. You got it. It's going. I think we don't know it. That's it. Okay. Good luck. That I was saying. Eight. Yes. Yes. But click on OK. Does that say 18? Okay. So now let's kind of look at. Let's kind of copy this over here, but I end up making it popular. Well, that's because this is like whatever we're trying to edit. You actually have both. Equals. So, you just have to click the point. That's a number. Is that the right number? 15,785? Yeah, I might, I'll do it all. So, good, it's just. During the taxes. Okay, taxes are gonna be a little bit easier. Okay, so, all you have to do is, we're gonna manually type this down. Okay. And you're gonna put this cell that has total real taxes in it. Divided by that. And we have PMI, which we can call property insurance, anyway, equals. It'll be estimate for property insurance for this. What is? I know, I think that's the second, and I just move these down. You should have. So you want to move like that. You know, I didn't put it in the board. Okay, so click on D. Yeah. And then you click. Yeah, you so association fees, you can pre-populate that, although we didn't have association fees in this example. I get the line. That is from my FHA. Okay.
So, you might want to manually do it on a conventional. If we want to go through the FHA example, we can get our spreadsheet a little more robust. I mean, this is one quick a couple quick calculations. It's not that complicated, but we can do that another day.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm pulling my monthly premium from here
Right.
and putting. What I want you to do,
You might leave that blank for now. Okay. But around the figure association fees in there. Like just go into the cell or association fees. Yeah. And just type equals. And then wherever over here, association fees are actually this. Actually left it out. I didn't do it. Oh, even if it's blank, click on that blank cell. Yeah. Over here, because we're pulling it on. When you fill this out, you're gonna have the annual amount. That's what I want you to click on that. And then divide it by 12. It's zeros. Now we're gonna total those up by just going order sum. Which is one. Okay.
$24.70.23. Oh, because I have a PMI number in there.
That's okay. No,
We got it. Now,
this will be the easy one. Here's what I want to show you. This. We're gonna go. This. Equals. That. And that. Equals. That. That's all. So we can do it, functionally. Start from scratch. You just ask this. These board services, fill those in, I know not that, but the like principal and interest. You fill those in from a calculator or.
No, actually, I let this be my calculator. So I did a payment function. So if you go to function wizard.
That's what, or to the bottom of that.
So the function was here is the one, yes. And typing a number of years, clicking on a spelling. No, actually, I like using this because it's automatically here. If I change something, I don't want to have to change it once on the spreadsheet. So I like that. Number of periods. The number of years. So we have to put it on this. Comments. Well, yeah. And and so we're gonna generate the loan amount at the negative number. So you're gonna click on negative, right? And then we're gonna our loan amount and click on that. Now let's do this thing and over here. You see your destiny. And you make sure we got it. In this case, it's not over here. Where is it? What I want to put equal. What happens if you click on here? You're gonna
Now, so again. It's actually 360 now, but it's fine. And it's not number, things are the same.
18, 8.
Things are the same word. More than 40 rounds. Now. With these numbers, the same. Oh, there's another line to put two line right out of them. Right, so it's total in the law.
Number 2.
You're welcome.
Then we can tell you the names of it.
Alright, so here, this is the easy stuff, we're gonna go equals. That's it. All we have to do is click on, purchase price, right? You can have it. You have to put it in. You have cost. Equals, whatever we can do. Now, here, what is this? We're gonna have those, right, how do we do it? Equal, this, plus. Okay, so it's just not a $90 These are the profit. Is this the thing for members? Here's the formula. Adjustment E15, which was total cash required. Minus. I just subtracted those out. Totally get rid of it. So.
Minus. One.
All right, if you were to look at yours. All right, is everybody's balance to its settlement? I know we made some differences with the numbers that we used. I think you used pretty much the numbers I used.
Right.
Does your number balance to its settlement equal 40,785.
941,235.
Okay, your estimate of costs, the total from your left-hand column, is that 15,785?
916,235. 978.
Maybe you put a different,
Yeah, I could have. So I'm reading from here, so I could have just put all in everything.
well, I don't want you to have the wrong thing. Let's troubleshoot it real quick. Your fees that you put in, did you put anything in for association? Nothing for prorations, your inspection costs. What did you put for property inspection?
100,
Wood,
175,
radon,
100,
water,
384,
and sewer? Did you put 475 for Debbie? Okay, so let's go up top. We're good all the way through that top section where you had the loan amount at 270, title search of 2,000, closing protection letter 125,
175,
170. Okay, let me put that in there. Title endorsement
400,
100, notary
150,
150. Okay.
recording,
Recording
350,
350, transfer tax.
3,000,
Broker fee, did you put anything in there?
100,
Okay, property insurance, 2250.
Yeah.
And, lender escrow of insurance,
5,
75. And our taxes were totaling 4410.
correct.
All right, what's your total now? Is it 15,860?
No, what did I do? I had
Down at the bottom of the column, what's your number?
5235.
234. Let's start at title search. You read to me.
250,
Mhm.
175, 100, 150, 350, 3,000, 200, 250, 375, 375, 35.
Wait, 375 twice?
Yeah.
What was this? The first one was,
Lender, escrow insurance, lender tax.
I didn't have lender tax escrow. Just make that a 0 for now.
Okay.
And let's see if we total up now to 15,860.
I tried making some adjustments in here, following you guys, but I probably missed something.
I just want to make sure that our math is set up properly.
Add it up again.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone.
B31. B10 to B31. Okay. And you're 15,860.
Right.
Okay. So now let's go to the right-hand side. Down where it's summary of money needed.
Mhm.
Let's follow along here. Are these numbers jiving with yours?
Yeah, I got that thing.
Okay, you're save yours. You're good.
Right.
Yeah.
The one with the phone, right? That's fine. Right?
Yeah.
Save a copy?
Well,
We had saved it wrong, right? We did a save out, but now you should just be able to just be saved. But if you want to do the save out again, you could just, save a copy. What do you mean? No, it's not like that. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, your numbers are driving with this?
15, 8, 10, so there's a, there's a little bit off.
$50 for something, so you have $50 more. Maybe the transaction coordinator.
Correct.
All right.
Let me put actually have this Zoom call. Maybe Dave, you can train me on how to end this Zoom call.
Just go for the copy of the group. You want to corner of the green thing is, the green.
Oh, this. And stops here. And then, oh wow, we have, yeah, but nobody's.